All right. All right. So I don't think today is going to be a very long, I don't want to make it long for us anymore because I think, too much information is, it'd be overwhelming. Saturation is not good. The last time that I taught on this in particular Torah portion, I talked about saturation. And the saturation is that if you put too much, like in our Torah portion, it said that people were bringing too much, uh, you know, materials. And so it was overwhelming. And then people could not be able to get the work that they need to get done. So with that in mind, I understand that, you can have too much information that can cause a problem for people. Okay. And we don't want to do such a thing. All right. So let's try, and I try to keep it under 50 slides. I try to keep it under 50 slides because sometimes I can get 100 and something slides and it just takes so much time. All right, so I'm gonna move a little bit quickly today. The name of our Torah portion is called YHWH, YHWH, okay? And it means something, of course, and it means he assembled. The part of that word that's very important is the hall, okay, which means flock. So the root of the word right here, if I was to put a wa right here, wa yahweh, that's what it is. Okay, so I'm going to take that off, and this is what we have left, which is kahal, okay, which means a flock. All right, let me turn my music off. Forgive me. Forgive me. Let me get out of here. Let me see. Do I have to get out? Let me see. Yeah, let me see.
Control left arrow should work.
Control left
Yeah.
or
To your
command
desktop.
or control. Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm listening to my 111, my 888 frequency. Control right. Thank you. He saves the day. Thank you so much. All right. So I'm gonna erase that right quick. Okay. All right. So he assembled, right? And so what did he assemble? Well, he assembled the flock. That's what he was talking about. Okay. So the Most High had instructed him to assemble the flock, which is Yah's people, and bring them to me so I can have a conversation with them. Okay. So within this word, kahal is the root word called voice. Okay. So it's the voice that Yah is giving them. All right. I'm talking to them. I'm giving them my voice. So anytime, just like when a shepherd calls a sheep and they come to him, they know his voice and they will respond to him and him alone. Okay. So that's something that we need to understand when you're reading this Torah portion, because when he called the people, yeah, they all may have come, but there's only a certain group of people within that flock that he's talking to. Okay. The first letter, which is the kohol or the kof, is called to gather. Okay. That's what that letter actually means. Unlike other languages, going again, talking about Hebrew, because this is the culture that we're talking about, the kof is one that gathers the people. Okay, so it gathers. It means to gather, like gathering of light. Okay, and so the picture graph of that, I don't have it up here, but it means to gather. And of course, the lamed is the staff. So when you put those two ideas together, right, you're talking about gather to the staff, which is to gather to the authority. Okay, gather to the one who's going to teach, because the lamed also means to teach. Okay, so that's the staff, is to guide, to instruct, to lead. Okay, so here when we're talking about the Most High's voice, what we're literally talking about is being gathered to his instruction and being gathered to his authority, right? So yeah, everyone else may come, but are they going to listen to his voice? That's the question, is whether or not they're going to listen to his voice, because his sheep respond. So out of the flock, there's only a certain group of people within that community that are going to listen, right? Everybody's not going to listen, you guys. They're not. So we need to understand that. I wouldn't say that we're the fortunate ones. I would say we're the respected ones. Okay. Because we're the ones that the Most High is gathering. And the process of gathering us is not when, what we think physically, where he has to literally take us and gather us, like he talks about in the nations. Like, I'm going to gather the children of Israel from the east and from the west. That process of gathering us takes time. That process has already begun in our lives. Okay. Your Torah portion said Moshe assembled that because that's who he was talking to, the whole community. Now, remember, Moshe's face is glowing. He just came down. The children of Israel broke the initial covenant. And it's been some time now before the Most High has decided to move on with Yisrael. And so he removes himself from them, in the tent of meeting. And he says that, hey, listen, I got to decide what I'm going to do with these people. And so, of course, we know that the Most High decided that I'm not going to leave them. Because Moshe begged him and got sick and said, hey, if you leave us, then what would distinguish us from all the other peoples? Meaning if we don't have anyone to talk to, we don't have anyone to get our decisions from, we're going to be a lost people. That's what it is. Okay. So Moshe assembles this community of the people of Israel and said to them, these are the things which Yahweh has ordered you to do. So they were gathered to the staff in order to receive instruction to do what they were supposed to do. Now, there's this word community that I have here is not what you would think of what you and I understand as a community today. It isn't. It's a little different. Okay. Hebraically, I'm going to explain to you, because I know that sometimes we forget things, but I want to explain to you what a community is in Hebrew. The community in the Hebrew is what they would call an Adah. Okay, and you can spell that in English A-D-A-H. Okay, and so Adah is a little bit different than a community. Okay, within it, we have the Aleph and the Dalet, which I would tell you that is the parent, that's the root of the word. Okay, and what I mean by the root is what is the foundation of what they would call the Adah, or they would in English call it the community. Okay, is actually, this has to do with the what? This has to do with the eye, and this has to do with the door. Okay, so when you look at Hebrew, you guys, you always have to keep in mind the agriculture. All right. The eth called, meaning this is a arrow, because that's what eth means. It's a sign or a mark to all call of the era of all of the eye of the doors. No. Okay. And here's this letter hey right here, just for us to understand. It means to look. Okay. So we know that the eyes are used to look. We know that the door is something that one looks at when they're going to it. It opens and closes. The door opens and closes. And that's fine. So why is Yah talking about this eth called Adah? Well, the eth called Adah are the ones that he wants to use in order to be his witnesses, because that's what an Adah is. An Adah is a gathering of people that are witnesses. Okay, they're testifying to the fact of what Yah is saying. Okay, they're testifying to what they actually see. Okay, they're going to see, because that's the eye, the ayin, and this is the door. They're seeing the door of what? Of a tent, what you would call a home, or what they would say a house, or what they would say a dwelling. Okay, so they're constantly looking at this door. Okay, that's what they're looking at. They're always looking at that door. I don't have a slide, but you remember last week it said when Yah was deciding what he wanted to do with Israel, every time Moshe went out to the tent of meeting that he put up, this is prior to the Mishkan, this is prior to the sanctuary. Okay, so let's don't get it confused. There was a tent called the tent of meeting where Moshe would go inside, and Yahushua would go inside this tent, and they would sit there and Yah would talk to them. But Yah is saying, I want to do something different. I want to put my sanctuary among the children of Israel. Okay. I want to put a place to set apart for the children of Israel. Right. So I need them to always, and every time Moshe went out to that door and he went to that tent, the cloud would descend upon the tent, and the children of Israel were standing at their tents, and they would fall on their faces and worship Yah when Moshe went into the tent. Okay. They would bow down their heads and fall and prostrate themselves to the ground every time he went in. And this was only after the Most High was deciding what he wanted to do with them. So what it is, everyone, is that they, at that time, were the witness to what Yah has done. They're the witness to the fire. They're the witness to hearing the words of the living Elohim. Okay. And you and I might say, well, we're not those people. So are we really his witnesses? Right? And here it is. This is what is beautiful. So Yah tells us in Yashiyahu, and of course, forgive me, you guys, I don't have scriptures down on every one of these slides because I know where they are, but some of them I want you to be able to look at. And if you want to know where something's at, ask me, and I'll tell you where it's at. So some slides you might see a scripture there, and then others you may not. Okay, a majority of them you don't. The ones that are very important that I want you to go look at for yourself are the ones that I put the scriptures there. So this is in the book of Isaiah, chapter number 43, verses 8 through 9. The Most High says, bring the people who are blind but have eyes, and also deaf who have ears. Who's he talking about? Who is he talking about? The only person that the people that are blind and have eyes and deaf and have ears are the children of Israel. Okay. Then he says, all the nations are gathered together. Okay. So they're gathered. But the difference between their gathering is different than our gathering. Their gathering is not the Kof and the Lament. It's not. So it's not the voice of Yah. They're not called like a flock. They're not his flock. They're not his people. They're not. So when he's not calling them like he calls us, I want you to see this, okay? So the nations, when he talks about gathering them, he's not talking about calling them like a flock. What he's saying for them is, I want you to collect them. They're going to be collected in order to receive judgment, okay? And the peoples are collected and they brought together. And then he asks a question. He asks, who among them, who the nations that can proclaim this and reveal what has happened in the past? So he's making reference to the past. He's making reference to what the experience was that happened to the children of Israel. Because that's why he's calling them. He said, let them bring their witnesses to justify themselves, right? So when you're a witness, it's an aid again, okay? And an aid is a witness. It's a person with the eyes who have actually seen. So Yah's not basing this on what you would say a magical spiritual understanding. He's literally going to say, were you an eyewitness to what happened in the past? Were you an eyewitness to what happened at Mount Sinai? Are you an eyewitness to anything that I've done? Were you an eyewitness to opening up the Red Sea? Were you an eyewitness to me feeding the children of Israel with manna? Were you an eyewitness to the quails? Are you an eyewitness to the fire and the column of the cloud? Are you an eyewitness to me destroying the armies? Are you an eyewitness to these things? He says that I need you to bring your witnesses, right? So that others on hearing can say that's true. I need you to bring other people to show that what you're saying is true, because what he's talking about is whether or not they know him. Forgive the writing. I want to see if you know me, because that's the only thing that we're supposed to testify to. That's the only thing that a witness is supposed to witness, is that they know him, they saw him, and they saw the things that he has done. This is the reason why the Most High is always asking the children of Israel, or commanding them to teach your children about the things that I've done for you. This is the reason why he tells us through his Moedim that I want you to remember this day because of this, that, and the other. This is the reason why I want you to keep the Shabbat, because I set it apart for you because you were a slave in Mizraim. Okay. But I want to know whether or not that they can come and testify to something that is true. I want to know if it's what they call in Hebrew emeth. I want to know if what they're talking about is reliable and if it's sure, because that's what emeth means. It means the truth. It means it's sure. It means that it is something that is viable. Okay, I want to know if what you're talking about can be depended upon. So you have to be a faithful witness to it. Okay, so the people that he says to bring forward, because this is a scene of court. Okay, so he's bringing forward the people who are blind but have eyes, and also deaf who have ears, with the children of Israel. He's also going to bring the nations, and he's going to ask them, hey, you guys are here now. I collected you, but now I want you to bring forth your witnesses to say whatever you say is true, because they believe in other gods, and they believe that, you could kill a man and God would forgive you and all this kind of stuff. So I want you to bring those witnesses. But this is what the Most High says to the ones who are blind. You are my witnesses. He's not talking to the nations. He's talking to the children of Israel. You're my aid. You're the ones who saw what I've done, says Yahweh. You're the one who saw my Mishkan. You're the one who saw the breastplate. You're the one who saw Aaron and his sons. You're the one who saw what I've done. That's what you are. You're my witnesses, plural, and my servant. Okay, remember I told you that we are Yah's servant. We're not in service right now, but in context in Isaiah, he's telling the children of Israel on this in particular time, when I'm going to call you, I'm calling you back so you can be my witnesses. I'm asking the nations to have their witnesses to testify who's Elohim, and I'm calling you so you can testify. So I'm going to gather you so you can testify to who I am. Now, this poses a big question for us, because you and I don't understand Yah's ways. We don't understand who we are as a people. We don't understand that this is not a magical thing. This is something that Yah has already planned in the beginning. You and I are divine. I'm not trying to sell you on something magical. I'm telling you the only way that this will ever make sense to you is if you understand that it's by divine intervention that Yah says that you're my witnesses. We're going to talk more about that. You can't testify to something that you ain't never seen. That's the bottom line. So when he says, I'm gathering these people to be my witnesses, what is he saying? He's saying, you saw it. You heard my voice. You may not remember it because you're blind. You're deaf. You can't hear. A person that is blind, that is deaf, cannot see or hear. They don't have any understanding. This is what Yah took away from us. I mean, I don't have a slide, but you can look at it, Deuteronomy chapter number 29. He says, at this very day that Yah has not given you a mind to understand, or eyes to see, or heart to understand what he was doing and who you are. Okay? You are an eternal being that has been going through generation to generation and generation till you get it right. Okay? Then he says, and my servant whom I have chosen, past tense, so that you can know and trust me. Remember, he asked the nations, bring somebody so they can say that it's true. The whole purpose of Yah inviting us into his family, the whole purpose of making us divine beings, the whole purpose of showing us everything in the Torah is to us to come to trust him. To trust him. He's interested in building a relationship with us. And so you can understand that I am he. No God was produced before me, nor will any be after me. You can find that in Deuteronomy chapter number 4. Moshe confirms these words that Isaiah had already said. Okay. He said that there is no other Elohim before me. You should know this because when you were at Mount Sinai, you did not see any type of shape of a male, a female, a bird, an animal, nothing. All you heard was a voice. That's in Deuteronomy chapter number 4, verse number 30 something. That's all you heard. You didn't see any kind of shape. All you heard was a voice. That's all you heard. You see, you saw other things, but you ain't never seen an image of a man. You've never been introduced to another God. There is no other Elohim produced before me and will be none after me. Yeah, I am Yahweh. Besides me, there is no deliverer. There is no savior. There is nobody else. And you are the witnesses to that. I have declared, saved, and proclaimed. I'm the one who has done this. Not some alien God among you. You can look at Deuteronomy chapter number 32. He said, there was no other God with you that brought you out of the land of Mizraim. Therefore, because of this, You are my witnesses, says Yahweh, that I am hell. I am the power. I am the great leader. I am the shepherd. Oh, praise be to the mighty Yahweh. Hallelujah. Why? You should know this. You should understand this. You should accept that there's nobody else. I wanted you to be my witnesses. I want to build a relationship with you. That's what Yah's interested in. That's what Yah is interested in. This whole Torah portion is about a relationship. Remember, he was going to leave the children of Israel and for, because they broke the covenant. But there's a relationship that Yah's concerned with. This relationship has divine fundamentals. And I want to speak to you today just about a few of them. I think there's 7 I have here. The first one is the commandment. That's the first fundamental. Without a commandment, there is no relationship. There is no relationship without a command. Okay? The Most High, Yahweh said to Moshe, tell, which is the command the people of Israel to take up a collection for me and accept a contribution from anyone who wholeheartedly wants to give. The contribution you are to take from them is to consist of gold, silver, bronze, blue, purple, scarlet yarn, fine linen, goat's hair, tan ram skins, and fine leather, acacia wood, oil for the light, spices for the anointing oil, and for the fragrant incense, onyx stones and other stones to be set for the ritual vest and breastplate. They are to make me a sanctuary. They are to make me a place, a mikdash. Okay. A mikdash is a place of a sanctuary of holiness so that I might live among them. So I'm mishkani, so that I can dwell among them. Because I want to have my home with you. I want to live with you. I want to have my house with you. I want a replica of what I have in the heavens to be on the earth. I want you to have access to me. Okay, I want you to be the people that have access to me. I want everybody to know that I'm with you. If my home is not with you, people, there is no access. Hear what I said. If there's no priest going on our behalf, going to the Most High, there is no relationship. There is none. You see? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But here, the command, it starts off with a command. This is the first thing that he tells Moshe to tell the people of Israel. The relationship is based on a wholeheartedness. That wholeheartedness means that you have a noble mind. You have a different type of mind. You have a different type of understanding. You are superior in your thinking. This is the reason why he asked for the things that he asked for. He asked for the gold and the silver and the bronze and the purple and the sky. He could have chose any other colors, but these are the noble. These are the royal. These are the majestic things that Yah says that I want on my house. I'm not talking about any type of oil. I want oil that's purified. I'm not talking about any kind of incense. I'm talking about incense that should never be made by anybody else. I'm not talking about regular stones that you pick up off the ground. I'm talking about onyx stones and other beautiful stones that will be set. I'm talking about jewels that are going to be set in the ritual vest and breastplate so that they can make a holy place for me so that I can live with them. I'm only going to live among them based on the command of me telling them what I want. And because of this, the people that are involved in this have to have a noble mind. Willingness is the second fundamental that of the divine fundamental that you and I need to understand if you and I are going to be with the Most High. Okay, number 2, you're going to take up a collection for Yahweh from among yourselves, anyone whose heart makes him willing. Anybody who has a desire, anybody that's impaled, anybody that wants to give this, I want them to come. Who has a desire to participate and to give of themselves to me. I want them to give to me what I've given to them, which is the gold, the silver, the bronze, the purple, the blue, the purple, the scarlet, the fine linen, the goat's hair, the tan ram skins, the leather skin, the acacia wood, the oil for the light, spices for the anointing oil, and the fragrant incense, the onyx stones, and the stones to be set for the ritual vest and breastplate. A noble mind is a mind that's bent on desire to give Yah what Yah wants. The whole community, the people of Israel, withdrew from Moshe's presence. They came, everyone whose heart stirred him. Everybody, when it says everyone whose heart, it's not everybody that was there whose heart was stirred. That word stirred right there is naso, which is our Torah portion we did before, where it talks about to lift himself up, to have a heart of elevation, to have a mind of being elevated. You and I cannot be part of Yah and be part of the congregation or be part of the Ada or be a witness if we're not willing to lift up Yah. We have to have that type of mind, okay? And everyone whose spirit made him willing, okay, brought Yahweh's offering for the work of the tent of meeting, for the service in it, and for the holy garments. Both the men and women came, and many as had a willing hearts, who had willing hearts. That's what this is about. They brought nose rings, earrings, signet rings, belts, and all kinds of jewelry and everything, bringing an offering to gold to Yahweh. You understand? So the noble mind is a mind that is elevated. The noble mind is the one that is lifted up high. Thus, every man and woman of the people of Israel whose heart impelled him to continue to any of the work Yahweh had ordered through Moshe brought it to Yahweh as a voluntary offering. A noble mind for us is one of generosity. Now, we might say, well, how does this apply to us today? You know, do we have these things to give to the Most High? No, we don't. These are things, listen, when I say they were divine, listen, when I said that we're divine and that we are Mount Sinai, it's very possible that you were the people, listen, that were willing to give. You were willing to give to Yah. Listen, we're the children of Israel. We're divine. We're eternal. You understand? So this mindset is just a playback of who we really are. And these are the things that Yah is bringing to our attention through the Torah. See, if the Torah is not making sense for you, it's because you don't see yourself as those people. If you're going to look at it as a religious ceremony and you're going to look at it as just something that you're doing because you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're not looking at it as, listen, I very well could have been those people. And I'm eternal. I have to have a noble mind of generosity. And so what we can do now is we can start practicing these things within ourselves and within our family. That's what I'm saying to you. Okay. That's how it would apply. The third fundamental of the divine fundamental is trust. Remember, the Most High says, I'm going into this relationship with you because I want you to know and I want you to trust that it's me. I'm the only one. I'm the only one that you know. I'm your only one. Okay. Meaning that we're going to find out some things of what Yah is to us. A lot of times we don't know. We don't understand what this trust is. It's fundamental, this divine fundamental. Listen, if you don't have trust in any relationship, it's not going to work. Trust is the cornerstone. It's one of the cornerstones of a relationship. You don't have any trust, it's not going to work. Okay. Nevertheless, I will leave a remnant. This is what the Most High is saying. Some who will escape the sword among the nations. And when you have been scattered throughout the countries, those of you who will escape will remember me among the nations. Now, there you go. There is the divine element that I told you. Nevertheless, let me read it slow. I will leave a remnant. Some will escape the sword among the nations. When you have been scattered throughout the countries, those of you who escape will remember me among the nations where they have been exiled. Stop right there. The people that were sent out of the land, ask the question, did they know Yahweh? When they got exiled, did they know Yahweh? Were there prophets there telling about Yahweh? Were they in the land? Did they know Yahweh? They know Yahweh?
Yes.
Yes, they did. Yes. So he's not talking about just those individuals. He's saying, listen, those of you who escape will remember me. Why would you have to remember Yah if you already been there? You're going to remember him among the nations where they have been exiled. Those of you, that's us. How broken I have been over their whoring hearts that left me. So if you're exiled and you're among the nations, you're going to remember Yah. That's what we've done. We've remembered him. And now that we have this remembrance, and there's other scriptures talk about it, when you come to your sense and you start thinking about what's happened to you while you're there among the nations, one of the things Yah wants us to know is that I've been crushed. You have broken the relationship. I've been broken over your whoring hearts that left me while they're in the nations, over their eyes that went all whoring after their idols. Your eyes goes back to the fact of you being a witness. Now you're testifying. You're not testifying to him. Now you're being a whore. Now you've been playing a whore this whole time. They are going to loathe themselves. Okay? Past tense. They're going to loathe themselves. They're going to hate themselves for all the evils that they've committed in their disgusting practices, which God tells us in a couple other scriptures that when I bring you back, you're going to loathe yourselves. You're going to be upset with yourselves because you're going to understand of all your disgusting practices when I open your eyes. Right now, your eyes haven't been open. You don't even know what you've done over the last couple of 100 years or whatnot. You don't know. You don't know how many times that you've been here. You don't know how many times you probably killed your children. You don't know how many times you fell down and worshiped other gods. You don't know how many times you probably committed adultery. You do not know how many times you've done these disgusting practices. That's a teaching that you've never heard before, and you're never going to hear it. Then they will know. When? Then they will know that I am Yahweh. And it isn't for nothing that I said I would bring this calamity upon them. You see? So we're looking back in the past to find out what happened. Yah has been crushed because what happens is the mind that he wanted us to have, which is the noble mind, has been perverted by the doubtful mind, which has to do with idols, which means that we've broken our trust. We don't trust Yah. And because of that, it's a shameful thing. It's it's disgraceful. And that's why he says, because of this shame that you have done, you're going to hate yourselves because of all your disgusting practices. And you're not going to, this is only going to happen after you remember me, after I bring it to your attention of what you've done. I'm telling you that I've been broken over what you've done. You've smashed this relationship. You have. You've broken faith with me. And that's because of your doubtful mind. You see? So this has been going on for a long time. Okay? I put the scripture in here because I want you to understand the relationship between Yah and his people. Okay? This is the Proverbs 31. You probably heard it before. It says, who can find a capable wife? Who can find a capable wife? Her value is far beyond that of jewels. Her husband trusts her from his heart, and she will prove a great asset to him. She works to bring him good and not harm all the days of her life. How does this apply? When it talks about her being a capable wife, it's not only talking about her, how capable she is, but it talks about her wealth. It talks about her abilities, okay, to produce wealth. It talks about her ability to manage wealth. It talks about her ability to go and get wealth, you see, and to possess it and to seek it and to find it. That's why she's more valuable. The Most High said the children of Israel is a segula to him. They're a treasure to him. They're a jewel to him. It talks about her husband. Her husband is her Baal. And Baal is this. The ayin is the eye, the ayin, and the lamed is what? The staff. The eye towards the staff? No, yes, the eye towards what? To look, because that's what the eye does. What is the staff? What is the eye looking at? What is the eye looking at according to this word? What is the eye looking at? It's looking at the staff. It's looking at the authority. Okay. So a Baal, when some in English is called Lord, but it's also translated into husband, is one with the authority. The bet right here is the home. He's the house. He's the authority of the house. He's the master of the house. But what she's doing is, and he trusts her. He trusts her with the what? With the wealth. You see, that's why she is capable. And that's why she's like jewel. She's more precious than jewel. She's a great asset to him, not to anyone else. She's an asset to him. She works to bring him good and not harm, you see. And I think one of the things as the Christian mindset is that, you know, they think that they have a Lord in the heavens and that they only have to listen to him, and they don't look at their husbands in this way. And that's a problem. Yah is telling us that you are a wife to me. You are a wife to me. And what I want to do is put my trust in you. Like I told you just a few minutes ago, that I'm interested in you trusting me so I can end up trusting you. If you don't trust me, I can't trust you. You see? And just like this wife is proving herself to be a great asset to him, the Most High says that Israel's responsibility to him is to be proven to be a great asset to him, so he can use us to do what he wants us to do. Okay. And we're supposed to go ahead and be this wife. And so she works to bring him good. The reason why the Most High put Aaron and his sons over that is because they're the representatives of the house of Israel, and they're there to manage his house. And guess what? The children of Israel plays a part in that because they're supposed to bring the gold, the silver. Aaron and his sons are not the ones who's supposed to bring all this. It's the people who are involved. It's the people of noble character. The noble mind is one of beauty. It's a beautiful mind, you see? So we have to, even as men, we have to adopt and adapt to being of a noble mind, like a capable wife. So Yah can put his trust in us, because that's what he's looking for, someone he could trust. Her children, talking about this noble woman, they make her happy. Her husband, her Baal, as he praises her. Many women have done wonderful things, but you surpass them all. Charm can lie. Yeah, they could say all the right stuff. Beauty can vanish. We all know this, but a woman who fears Yahweh should be praised. So again, going back to the idea of the noble mind, because this is talking about the noble woman, a noble mind is one that's praiseworthy. It's one that's given the proper attention to admire. That's the noble mind. So Yah's letting us know, when you deal with me, I want you to have this type of mind so I can praise you, because I created you to praise me, but I do want to praise you in front of the nations. The people of Israel did all the work just as Yahweh had ordered Moshe in your Torah portion, and Moshe saw all the work, and there it was. They had done it exactly as Yahweh had ordered. So they have done it. Moshe blessed them. There's no reason for us to think for one moment that you and I can't do exactly what Yahweh has ordered. There's no reason why we can't say that we can't do what Yahweh has ordered. Moshe blessed them. When I talked about that word bless right there, is talking about bending the knee or bowing the head. And what it is to bless here is a sign of respect. Lately, I've been getting a lot of blowback. Like I tell you that Yah hasn't blessed us, meaning Yah hasn't shown respect to us yet. He hasn't. He hasn't bent the knee down. He hasn't been, shown respect and gave us the nod of approval. But as men, we can bless each other. I want that to be, maybe I should introduce that idea. Okay. As men and women, we can introduce that idea to each other. We can bless each other. We can give a nod of what we see to be right. We can give a nod and show respect to each other. That's blessing. Okay. And it's not on the level that Yah's blessing is, but it is on the level of respect. And because it's a noble mind, the people who were able to accomplish this work and who participated in it, Moshe showed them respect. And it was because they did exactly what Yahweh has ordered. And you and I can do that with the noble mind. In the book of Proverbs, it talks about trusting Yahweh with all your heart. That's your mind. And don't rely on your own understanding. This is a biggie right here for us. Okay. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and then he will level your paths. Don't be conceited about your own wisdom, but fear Yahweh and turn from evil. Okay. So this trust here is Yah's really asking for us is to rely on him and to put our confidence in him. Let's not put our confidence in our jobs. Let's don't put our confidence in how much we know. Let's don't put our confidence in our money. Don't put our confidence in men. And don't put your confidence in people. Okay. And or other leaders, because they're going to let you down. They're going to fail you. Okay. Our confidence should be in Yah. And the way that he's asking us to do this is with all of our mind. And that is the challenge for the noble mind. Okay. The noble mind is not one that's perfect, everyone. It's not. The noble mind is one that desires to do that which is right. The noble mind is the one that gives careful attention to it. The noble mind is the one that has all the desire to want to do what is right and pursues that which can make it happen. So that brings us to our fourth fundamental of our divine fundamentals of Yahweh's relationship is this idea of respect. Yah says that the noble mind must show reverence to him. So just like a son honors his father and a servant his master, okay? But if I'm a father, where's my honor due me? And if I'm a master, then where's my respect due me? Where's the reverence? Where's the fear that I'm owed, that's due to me? If you and I claim that we are of this character, because that's what the noble mind is to be of a character of that, and we are to be admired or to be respected, you and I are going to have to understand what level of reverence that we need to have for our master. Yah is our master. The relationship, there's all different types of relationships. There's a relationship between a husband and wife. There's a relationship between a father and a son and his children. There's a relationship between an employee and an employer. There's a relationship between a master and a servant. There's relationships all over the place. Friendships, there's relationships, okay? And they work in all these different ways. There's all these different facets, right? But what Yah is telling us is that, look, every relationship that is of great importance to me, I say that I'm your father. We see scripture, he said that you are our father. Yah says that I'm your master. He says, I'm your father, I'm your master, I'm your husband. I'm all those things to you. I'm your king. So we need to accept these things. He's put these relationships in our lives so we can get an idea of what's owed. Okay, so anytime that you're in a relationship, it is a give and take, but there's also different levels, and what level deserves a certain amount of respect. Okay, so now, Israel, all that Yahweh our Elohim is asking from you, okay, as an individual, is that you would fear him, that you would have some reverence of Yahweh, your Elohim. And by that means that you will follow his ways, that you will love him, you will serve Yahweh, your Elohim, with all your heart and all your being. And I highlighted all there simply because the noble mind is one that must be tamed. Okay. Of course, in Hebrew, all means call. And for those who don't know, is a kaf and a lamed. And the kaf here is the hand. And the lamed, again, is the staff. It's always the staff, and it's about learning. So what they do is a shepherd would put in his hand the staff, and he would guide and lead, but also too is used to prod or probe the animal that's going in the wrong direction. It's also used to make sure that you knock down the seed in the ground, or you direct it to where you want it to go. You push things with it, you direct it with it. Okay, you discipline with it. And so what the noble mind is one that has to be tamed. So we're always going to hear this because Yah is our shepherd. And what Yah is taming us with, listen to this. Yah is taming us with his kol. Remember? And he's saying, I want to kol all of you. These are related. They both have the lamed. Okay, this is gather and this is the palm. This one right here you use to tame, and you use this right here, the voice. When Yah is talking to us, he's taming us. Yah tames us by us listening to what he has said, which is his voice. So the noble mind is the one that's tamed by what? Yahweh's words. Yahweh's words are Yahweh's commands. The commands come from your father. The commands come from your master. The commands come from your husband. The commands come from your king. The commands come from your rulers. The command comes from your Elohim. This is Yahweh's way. This is the only way. And this is why this doesn't, listen, this is not going to work for the person who doesn't have a noble mind. Because the noble mind is one who desires to be tamed. They desire to be corrected. They are looking for a correction. We have a college professor on here, right? She knows that she has a whole bunch of students. There's some students that just don't want to learn, and there's others who have a desire to know. So what they'll do is that if they have a desire, they'll come to her and they'll ask her questions to find out whether or not they understand it correctly. And it all goes back to what does she say, which is her voice. And if you can't trust the voice, you can't trust what's being said, then you have no respect. If you can't trust the voice, you're going to break the agreement. You're going to break the covenant. If you don't trust the voice, there is a breach going to happen in the relationship. Therefore, you and I need to be tamed. The relationship, everyone, is not based upon how we feel. This relationship is not based on emotion, and it's not based on feelings. And it's not based on our terms. These are the terms in which the Most High set. And that's why he says these are the terms of the covenant to Moshe. One of the fifth element of the divine elements of or fundamentals of this relationship is humility. I put this scripture here because it came to my mind when I was thinking about, well, how can we help our relationship? We have to be humble. Yah says, at that time, I will be going against them and bringing them into the lands of their enemies. But if, conditional, their uncircumcised hearts will grow humble, and they are paid the punishment for their misdeeds, then I will remember my covenant with Yaakov, and my covenant with Yitzchak, and my covenant with Abraham, and I will remember the land. The uncircumcised heart has to grow humbled. The uncircumcised heart, right, has to be lowered because we have broken trust with Yah. That's why I put this here. We've broken trust with Yah. And if he says at that time, it's a time element, I'm going against them. So if I'm going against you, then I'm not for you. I can't be going against you and then also be there for you. I can't be going against you and then blessing you. I can't be going against you and then be with you. I can't be going against you, bringing you into the lands of your enemies, and I'm there with you. It doesn't work like that. You understand? So what he's saying is this mind, this uncircumcised heart, which is the uncircumcised mind. This is where we're at. Okay. Right now in our exile. Yeah, but Akika, you just brought out all the nobility. Yeah, that's the desire. But what's the reality? The reality is that you and I have an uncircumcised mind. That's what Yah says. That's the voice. The voice says that you have to grow humble. The voice says that you have to lower yourself. See? So what he's saying is, right now, at this time, you need to know where you are. You need to understand this, because even in noble character, the noble character be the one that says, I accept what you said. I'll accept what you said. I'll respect what you said. I'll desire what you said that I should desire, which is to be humble. See, so you can still have noble character, but yet you're in a situation where you have an uncircumcised mind. So all of our leaders, the so-called leaders that we have today, have an uncircumcised mind. All your rabbis, all your pastors, all of them have an uncircumcised mind. All of your teachers, even Akika Dawid, has an uncircumcised mind. And what we're learning right now is, while we're in our exile, this is the time to lower yourself, not to lift yourself up, because you have nothing to lift up. Listen. Yah's not asking you and I to elevate right now. I'm not double talking. He's saying that your mind right now has to become lowered so I can lift you up. So I can bring you back to that status of being noble. So you can bring me an offering, a teruma, and you can bring a contribution to me. And then I can restore the relationship that you broke. We broke this relationship because the sixth divine fundamental is faithfulness. And this is something that we have not been. We've been faithless to Yah, like a faithless woman who betrays her husband. You, house of Israel, have betrayed me. Tough words. But guess what? Says Yahweh. That's his voice. The only thing that you and I have now today is to hold on to what he has said. When the master speaks, or the husband speaks, or the teacher speaks, or the father speaks, or the mistress speaks, or the master speaks, and the servant, the child, whoever it is, they think that it's always going to be nice and soft and gentle words. The relationship doesn't work like that. If you and I have been faithless, like Yah has said right here, Jeremiah chapter number 3, you and I have been faithless to him. Okay? That's hard. That hurts. When it says faithless, the faithless mind is one that is not this abstract term, well, I don't have faith, I don't believe. No. This one has to do with clothing. Listen to this. When I read this, I was like, wow. This one here is called baged. Just like it talks about the clothing that you're supposed to make for Aaron and his sons, it's called baged. Garments to baged. The clothing here means deceit. I'm sorry, I spelled that wrong. It means deceit. Okay. It means to be deceitful. So when it talks about her being faithless, it's not talking about her just being a whore. It means that she's being deceitful. It means that she's hiding things like you will with clothing. You use clothes to hide things. You can hide. See? So the Most High is saying that we're the type of people that are like a faithless woman, a woman that would hide things. In my experience, I used to be I think I told you guys this before, that I used to be a realtor, right? And I used to do loans. And I would used to run people's credit. And then the wife would call me and say, hey, listen, me and my husband are interested in getting a, getting a loan or a first or second or whatever, and want to take some money out. I was like, okay. So I'll run the credit. And then when I get the credit back, guess what I would see? I would see that all these charges, okay? And it would be for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay. So I would call the woman back who initiated the conversation and say, hey, look, I see this, I see this, I see this. I saw one person had over 10K on credit cards. And the woman said, well, is there any way that you can hide the 10K? I said, from what? She says, don't let my husband know about it. I said, why not? She said, just don't let my husband know. But I said, ma'am, I can't do that. I have to, it will be disclosed. Okay. So, and this is not one occasion. I've seen it all the time. I'm not trying to badmouth a woman. Want to be clear, because men do things too. Our thing is not about money. Our thing is about relationships with other women. That's what we hide. Women hide money. Okay. And they do it through credit cards, and they do it all these things. And it's simply because they're hiding it. That means that they're being faithless. So being unfaithful to your husband doesn't mean that you're just sleeping around with another man or you're committing adultery that way. Faithlessness that the Most High is describing as a woman is hiding things. And that's a woman who's very treacherous. That's a treacherous type of person. That's a person that you can't trust. Okay. So the thing is, the Most High is saying to us is that, guess what? You're hiding things. And the reason why you're hiding things from me is because you don't trust me, because that's what usually it all boils down to. Faithlessness means that you don't have any trust, you don't have any confidence, you're not being faithful, you have no fidelity. So the bottom line is, in our example here, the Most High is saying that guess what? You're being faithless to me. You're hiding things from me because you don't trust me. So the relationship that we have is not based on trust, it's not based on faith. There's no faithfulness there. There's no truth. Okay. So when you do this, you betray me. That's what a man feels like. Just like the Most High said he feels betrayed. I'm betrayed because you've been hiding things from me. And so what are we hiding from the Most High? We're hiding, our ideas and what we want to do. We're just things that we hide. And we need to not hide from Yah, because you can't have a relationship with him if you're doing those things. It says here, the days are coming, says Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Yehuda. It will not be like the covenant I made with their fathers on the day I took them by their hand and brought them out of the land of Egypt, because for their part violated my covenant. Even I, for my part, was a husband to them. So again, we see the Most High saying he's being a husband to the children of Israel. So I'm not just their father, I'm not just their master, I am their Baal, I am their master. Okay, I'm a husband to them, says Yahweh. So this husband right here, even in our faithfulness, the Most High wants us to know that he's faithful. He's faithful. Irregardless to what we have done to Yah, Yah's saying, I'm faithful. I'm not going to break my covenant because you're hiding or because you're being treacherous. I'm not going to break my covenant because you have been disloyal to me. I'm not going to break my covenant because you betrayed me. I'm not doing that. I'm going to be faithful to what I'm telling you because I'm your husband. And for this is the covenant. This is the agreement that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says Yahweh. I will put my Torah, my instructions within them and write it on their hearts. And I will be their Elohim and they will be my people. No longer will any of them teach his fellow community member or his brother. Know Yahweh, for all will know me, from the least of them to the greatest, because I will forgive their wickedness and remember their sins no more. Meaning that all the things that you have done against me, I'm going to forget it. I'm going to wipe it clean. Okay, I'm going to get rid of it. Why? Because I'm faithful. I'm making a promise to you that this is who I am. See, Yah's not, if Yah was human, he wouldn't be trying to rebuild a relationship. He wouldn't be trying to rebuild this relationship that he has with us. Yah has put us in exile so we can admit that we've gone against him, that we have done wrong. This is the reason why he says, go and proclaim these words to the north, return backsliding Israel. See, this doesn't make sense to a person who says, well, I'm not Israel and I'm not in the north. You got to remember that you're an eternal people. Says Yahweh, I will not frown on you, for I'm merciful. That's who he says he is. We just read that last week where he says, I'm the merciful one, says Yahweh. I will not bear a grudge forever. Yah does bear grudges. He does, but it's not forever. Yah does get angry, but it's not forever. Yah does hate, but not forever. Only acknowledge your guilt. That's all I want you to do. When we violate and we broke faith with Yah, Yah is just telling us, and I didn't have another slide up here, but it also tells us that I want you to acknowledge. I want you to bring to attention your guilt. That's all you have to do. A lot of Christians don't like this. They don't like the fact that this is all you need to do is acknowledge. And guess what? That takes a noble mind. That takes a person who's willing to return back to the staff. Because when he says that I want you to go, this return right here is a command to return, to shuv. You're going this way. I want you to turn around and do a 180 and go back down this way again. Come back to me. And when you come back to me, I won't frown on you because I'm not a human being. I am merciful, says Yahweh, and I will not bear a grudge forever. Okay. All I want you to do is acknowledge your guilt. Now, listen to what I'm saying carefully. Why is Yah telling us to acknowledge our guilt? If you say that I've been born in California or Texas or Louisiana or North Carolina or New Jersey or Hawaii or Canada, and I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, if you adopt and adapt the mindset that I've been trying to teach us, is that you are divine. You've been doing things to Yah for a long time. your essence of who you are. You didn't ask to come here, and you don't know when. You didn't put in an application. You don't know how you got here. You don't know how you ended up in the family that you did. You don't know any of these things. You don't know where you're going. You don't know any of that. You don't. But what you do know is this, is that Yah says through the voice that I want you to acknowledge your guilt. And a lot of people don't want to do this. They want to continue to be deceitful. They continue to want to hide. They continue to want to be faithless. Okay? That you have committed crimes against Yahweh. What crimes have I committed against Yahweh? Go back and look at what I told you to do. Listen to what I said. Listen, I'm your Elohim, that you were promiscuous with strangers. You made yourself open and available to every one of these strangers, these other gods under every green tree, and that you have not paid attention to my voice. When were you ever under a green tree? See, I don't know. Where'd you come from? I don't know. Where you going? I don't know. Says Yahweh. Why? Because you didn't pay no attention to my voice. What's my voice? My voice is my commands. My voice is everything I told you. My voice is my covenant. My voice is my kukim. My voice is my moedim. Return, you backsliding children. Now I'm your father right there. Then he says Yahweh, for I am your master. You're the servant. But I thought you said I was your child. Yes, you're my child. But I'm also your master. I thought you said I was your husband. Yes, but I'm your master. I tell you what it is. I will take you, one from a city and two from a family, and I'll bring you to Zion. If you do what? If you return. Return to the staff. Return to the voice of the shepherd. Not the good shepherd in the New Testament, and he saved you from nothing, and he delivered you and led you nowhere but into slavery and led you to get hung on trees. No, you need to return back to the voice. Finally, we have the time element, right? Which is the seventh fundamental to divine fundamental that I want to talk about. All of you know that for everything there is a season. Okay, not a moedim. This word right here is not moedim. It means that it's an occasion. There's always an occasion of something. There's a right time for every intention. Okay, that word right there, intention, they translate it as intention and sometimes purpose. I looked in the Hebrew, it had to be a delight, and every delight under heaven. I was trying to figure out what it was he talking about. Here's what Yahweh says. This is the voice of Yahweh. Listen again. We have heard Yah. Look at the phrase. What is Yah's phrase? At the time when I choose. At the time when I'm going against you. At the time when I choose. At the time when I'm going against them in the lands of their enemies. At the time when I choose. I will answer you when I choose to answer you. You don't set the tone to this relationship. You broke it. Now it's time to build it back. On the day, that's the time. There's a day of salvation, everyone. A literal day. I will help you. I have preserved you. I have appointed you to be the covenant for the people. Talking about Israel. Okay? To restore the land and redistribute again its ruined inheritances to their owners, and to say to the prisoners, come out. Those in darkness. You and I have been in darkness. We're literally in a prison that you don't even know you're in. Show yourselves. I got to bring you out. And these individuals that are in darkness, remember, oh no, we're blessed. He's with us. Oh no, we're blessed. He's with us. His presence is with us. We have his Holy Spirit. No, you're in prison. You're in darkness. And I'm going to tell you to come out and show yourselves. This has not happened. The time for this has not happened. The occasion for this has not happened yet. Then they will feed along the paths. All the high hills will be their pastures. Going back to the idea of the flock, because that's what a flock does. Going back to our idea of kol. I need you to go and you're going to feed on the high hills and the pastures. You're going to feed who? The flock, my people. Which ones? All of us? No. Only ones with a noble mind. Only those who have humbled their uncircumcised minds. See? Period. Yahweh said to Moshe, on the first day, this is a time element, a fundamental. On the first day of the first month, you are to set up the tabernacle, the tent of meeting. Somebody tell me why on the first day of the first month? What do you think? Why would Yah choose the first day on the first month to set up the tabernacle? Just get a guess. Just tell me. Just think about first day, first month. Think about first day.
Spring.
It's spring. Oh, there you go. Something new, something fresh, growth, development. There you go. Praise Yah. He said, Bayom, the HaKodesh, the Hadrashon, the Bayakad, the Lakodesh, the Hakwimeth, the Mishkan. I'm going to put this Mishkan Ohel Moed. Okay. What he's saying is this. This is the very thing that we just read. When he says the first is the Rashon, this is the first. But they told us, and now it's the first month, because Kodesh, Chodesh, sounds like Quodesh. Sounds just like it. But one is to be set apart, and the other one is month. So this one right here is month, Kodesh. This is Quodesh, meaning to be set apart holy. Okay. They sound very much alike. Okay. So Yah is always looking for the first of everything, right? So he says the Rishon. So this is the first, the Ha-Rishon. But then he says on, not the first, not the Rishon, but on Be'akad. Okay. Rishon means first. This right here means one. So in Hebrew, you have numbers. Okay. And in your Hebrew, your numbers, they're either going to be one or the other. They're either going to be what you would call ordinal numbers. Okay. I forgot what's the other one. Cardinal. That's what they call them. Okay. So what's an ordinal number? An ordinal number is like first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Okay, so it gives an order. One, all the way down. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. That's an ordinal because you can see right here, ordinal, meaning in order. Okay. A cardinal number is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it could be one thing, two things, three things, four things, five things. See? Do you guys understand that? So it's not the fourth. If I'm talking about an ordinal number, it's the fourth of this. It's in order. This is the fourth thing that I got. Okay. If I'm talking about four things, I could just say the number 4. Like I have four fingers. Okay. So because they're divided like that, it tells us something about how the Most High has said something about on the first month versus the first day. Now check this out. Rishon, when you say the first day of the week, is called Yom Rishon. It's the first day of the week. Okay, it's not called Yom Akkad. It's called Yom Rishon. So that's the order. That's the first day in the order of 7 is Yom Rishon. Okay, Rishon, R-I-S-H-O-N. It's the first. It's not the only. It's the first. This right here means there's only one on day 1. Okay. Only on day 1. So there's only not Yom Rishon. He says on the Be'akad. That's what I want you to do. Okay. I want you to do it on the one day. Okay. And why 1? Somebody tell me. Why did he say Akkad? From what you remember about your Hebrew. What is Akkad?
He's 1.
Oh, yes. I didn't put a text up here because I knew somebody would know it. He says, Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Yah is showing us the oneness of himself on that particular day. Here's a little bit of scary information. That solar eclipse is happening on April 8th, okay, is this day. And it's in here, right here. This solar eclipse that's coming on April the 8th is this verse right here. Bayom HaKodesh, on the first month, on the first day, Bayachad de la Kodesh. According to our calendar, this year it's April the 8th. That's this verse right here. So when this solar eclipse happens, the Most High is saying that's the day that I establish my Mishkan, my Ohel, to put up. Okay. I also wrote this here too because I want you to know some other things about this. This word right here called Mishkan, M-I-S-H, Khan. Okay. First part of that is me. Me means who? Shakan, right? Shkan means to dwell. Okay. Who is dwelling? Okay. So when Yah talks about his Mishkan, he's talking about my dwelling. He's not talking about his sanctuary per se. Okay. He's talking about this is where I dwell, right? This is where I live. Okay. I'm going to live in the tent of, this is called the Ohel. The Ohel is the tent. Okay. And then the Moed is the tent of seasons or the tent of appointments. So I have a tent of appointments. That's where Yah's living. I live in a tent of appointments because that's what the Moed, I live in a tent of seasons because that's what a Moed is. It's a season. You see? So this is the reason why he has 7 seasonal appointments. And he tells that you're supposed to come to this tent of meeting, or you're supposed to come to this place and do it. We have one coming up right next few weeks called Pesach. We also have Chag Matzot. Those are appointments. Those are times. Okay. So the Most High is letting us know that I want to do this because I'm one. I'm Echad, and I'm showing you because you're my witnesses. Because remember, you and I are supposed to go to what? If we're his witness, where are we supposed to go? To the doors of what? We're supposed to show up at the doors of his Mishkan, his tent of the Moed. They call it a tent of meeting. Remember, because the Moed means seasons, but also means meeting. Because the tent of meeting means we're going to go have an appointment. You have a meeting, or I'm going to meet with you. Dr. Yared, you know that you have meetings all the time. So when you have your appointment and you tell somebody to be there, and they're supposed to be there. So you can go over everything that you want them to know, right? About the things that are coming in the future. And you can discuss the things that have happened in the past. And you can resolve all the different types of issues that you have in your meetings. The Most High is telling us that I need you to come on these particular times into my Mishkan Ochel Moed, so that you can understand that this is when I'm going to meet with you, to remind you of what I'm going to do, to remind you that I'm one, to remind you that I'm the only one who ever delivered you, to remind you that I'm the only one that fed you, to remind you that I'm the only one that loves you and cares for you, to remind you that I'm your only husband, I'm your only father. The reason why, again, it was on the first day, everyone, is because then Elohim said, let there be light. And there was light, and Elohim saw that the light was good. And Elohim divided the light from the darkness, and Elohim called the light day, Yom, and the darkness he called Lila. And so there were evening and there was morning one day. Now, again, for those who are of divine understanding, he's not saying the first day. It's Yom Echad. Okay. The second day of the week is called Yom Shani. So what is Yah telling us? This right here is not an ordinal number. It's not the first day. This right here is the only day. Okay? If you look at Genesis chapter number 1, he says Yom Echad for the first day, and every other day after that's ordinal. This is the only one, the only cardinal day. There's not the day for Rabbah or Shalosh or Kamash. It is Shani, Shalishi, Ravi'i, Kamishi, Shishi, Shavi'i. This is Echad. So what Yah is letting us know is that I only made one day. That's all I made. Listen, I only made one day, people. When I decided to do some more work, I took the first day that I had, or excuse me, Yom Echad, the only day that I made, and then I said, well, I'll replicate that. I'll replicate the day because on that day, I used light. On that day. On that day, I divided the light from the darkness on that day. I didn't divide it on the fourth day. I divided it on the first day. The fourth day, I gave you signs and symbols and things to show, to let you see it. But Yom Echad is the day that I divided light from darkness. Now, let me break this down for us so we can get an understanding, because I think this is probably my last slide. He says, Vayomer Elohim, Wahi or Wahi or, meaning let there exist light, and there was light. And then he saw Elohim, and he saw Elohim, a direct arrow pointing to the Ha'or, to the light, that it was Kitov, it was functional. And he divided, Wayabdel, he divided Elohim, divided what? Between the light and between the darkness. Okay, so I'm making a separation and I'm making a division between light and darkness on Yom Echad. And he said, and he called, that's not just said here, okay? He called, he proclaimed that this Elohim, that La'or Yom, I said that the day or the light is going to be called Yom, because that's what I said. Let there be light, let there be Or, right here, Or. So Yah proclaimed that the Or is going to be called Yom. So anytime you hear the term day or Yom, its real essence is Or. So look outside right now. What do you see? What do you see according to what Yah says? Test question. What do you see? Do you see Lila or do you see Or? Do you see Koshek? What do you see? You see Or. So if you're seeing Or right now, and it's the Shabbat, then the Shabbat is on the Yom Echad. It is on, not the Shabbat's not on Yom Echad. You see Or on today, and Or right here is Yom. That's what Yah called the Or. He called to the light. So what it's saying is, when it says not for the light, he's saying this is what he said, because he proclaimed it. So just imagine, and this right here is talking about Yah's voice. Listen to the power of this. Yah said, La'or Yom. That's what he said. Like he said in English, let there be light. Remember, you look right up here. It has these little quotation marks. This is what he said. And what that is, he says, Wahi or. Let there be. So Yah is using his voice to speak to the light, and it became, okay? So one of the reasons why he put the tabernacle up on the first day in the first month is not only because, like you said, Dr. Red, which is true, it's the day of the first of spring. It's the first month. It's the first month, but the first day, not the first day, the Yom Echad, I got to catch myself. The Yom Echad, day number 1 of that first month, is a time that reflects light. When Moshe put up the tabernacle, Yah told him to bring the vessels inside, right? One of the vessels that he told him to bring inside of the tabernacle was the menorah. And what did the menorah supposed to do?
Your light.
Bring light. Okay. What part of the tabernacle was the light in? Was it in the sanctuary where the Ark of the Covenant was, or was it in the other part? It was in the first part. Okay. I don't have a little slide up here. Maybe I can write a little thing right here. There was a division between this. Here's the ark right here. The menorah was right here, and the table was right here, and then the other altar was right here. There was a curtain, it was right here. Okay. So what we're seeing is the ark represents Yah's throne. Okay. Yah is Yah's glory is right here. Okay. This is where the light is. This is where the altar is. This is where the bread is. The bread is talking about the sons of Israel, represents Israel. So based on the diagram of what we have, we should know that this is the first section, this is the second section. Okay. So what can we understand? We can understand if we were looking at this from an elevated level, like if we're looking up like this, elevation, levels, we would understand that what it was is the second level right here is more like earth. Because that's where Aharon and his sons and all of them were. That's where they would go do their responsibilities. And that's why Aaron was only allowed to go into the Ark of the Covenant once a year, because that's like the heaven of heavens. That's the heavens. You see? So what you see here, when we talk about Akkad, okay, and I'm just going to put it right here for us down here on the bottom. Follow me. Don't get lost. When we got Akkad, when we're talking about Akkad right here, what Yah is telling us, this is like, I won't say it's a mystery. I would say this is a beautiful thing that Yah is revealing to us. Because the word Akkad has this word, this letter right here, the aleph on the front, that's the child root. So if I took the child root away, let me erase all this so we can get some more clarity. Let me just erase it, clear it off, so you can see what I'm saying. So here's the ark. Here's the altar. Here's the menorah. And here's the table. Okay. So when we're looking at elevating, okay, the reason why the Most High calls this and did it on the first day is because, like Dr. Urez said, because it's springtime, it's the first month that he brought the children of Israel. He acknowledged that this is going to be the beginning of months for you. Yom Echad, the word Echad, everyone, means something greater than just unity. You got to find out, how do you get to that unity? Okay. So what we see is the aleph right here, that's the child. So the parents are these two letters. Okay. The first letter is a wall called the Kate. Okay. That, which is this letter right here. This letter right here is the Dalet, which is called the door. Okay. So let me show you how unity is brought. So it's called the wall door when you put it together. When there's a door inside of the wall, right, the door has to be opened in order to give a person access to the other side. Okay. So the wall door here is in the tabernacle. Yah sets up these curtains, right? And you can only go inside of here once a year. So this right here is the earthly, and up here is the heavenly, where Yah's throne is. That's why he can only go in once a year. Okay. So he has to go between that curtain. He has to go between that door. And there's a wall there. Yah put up a partition between them. So Aaron only has access into that, to the heavenlies once a year, and on the Day of Atonement, to go in for the children of Israel. Right here, when they got that table there, that's where the bread is, which represents the children of Israel. Okay. Humanity, earthly. Okay. The light here is on the earth, which is the or. Okay. He brings it on the first day, because on Yom Echad, he sets up the tabernacle on Yom Echad, because that's the first time that he introduces light to the world. Okay. So the light that's on the earth is not the light that's in the heavens. You understand? Because Yahweh is the light of the heavens. He doesn't need, he's introducing himself down here. Okay. So then, of course, for us, he gives us the sun in order to give us the light on the fourth day. But this light right here, if we break it down, is literally saying, I'm going to bring order, because you can't have order without light. Okay. So this division between the wall and the door, or the door gives you access, Yom HaKah really is saying that on this day, Yah is going to join himself with humanity. When Yah decided to have his tabernacle put on Yom HaKah, he's saying, I'm going to join myself with the children of Israel. I'm going to put my home among them. I'm going to be unified with them like a husband and a wife. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my home with them on that day, just like I set up the earth and I put light on the first day and I divided the light from the darkness. The reason why there's a division between the first part of the Mishkan and the second part is because this has some light right here, but the glory of Yahweh is in this other part right here. And that's why those curtains had all those different colors and the cherubim and all that, because it represents the glory of Yahweh, which is which is in the heavens. So the glory of Yahweh now is I'm having my home with you guys, but there still has to be a separation between, and a division, which is dividing the light, the true light, from the darkness. The reason why there needs to be light in the second place is because without it, it'll be darkness. Here, I don't need any light. In this first part is because I'm the glory and I am the light of that place. I don't need a menorah. You guys need the light. See? So what Yah is doing too, going back to what he did on the first day, is I'm going to divide the light from the darkness. You see, I'm the true light. I'm introducing myself to you. The darkness that you're in is like being in this other part of this second part of this ohel, this tent. See, there's darkness in there without the menorah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you light. I'm going to introduce light to you, okay, into your darkness, because you guys are earthly. You're human. I'm from the heavens, okay. But I'm also letting you know that there's a separation between me and you. You guys are in darkness. Remember, we read a scripture that says, I'm going to bring you out of your prisons. Okay. I'm going to bring you out of your darkness. Remember, we just read that? Yah says, at the time that I choose, I'm going to answer you on the day, okay, on the Yom, okay, I'm going to do it on that Yom. And what am I going to do? I'm going to tell to the prisoners, I need you to come out of those who are in darkness. And I need you to show yourselves. Why? Because now that you come out of your darkness, I'm going to bring light to you. And the light that I'm bringing is not the light that you see in the sun. It's going to be the day of salvation, which is the day of salvation is the day that I'm going to reveal my glory to you, which is the true light. I'm going to bring you into my glory. My glory is going to be among you. Okay. So that was the reason why the Most High set up the tabernacle on that first day. Okay. To represent the first day, the Yom HaKad, because he uses the same words, Yom HaKad, that I need you to set it up, Moshe, on Yom HaKad. And this is what I introduced light to the world on Yom HaKad, not the first day, not the Rishon, okay, not the first, but on Yom HaKad, on day one. So day one is where I'm going to show my glory. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. Okay. Remember, day one, okay, is going to be that day, Yom HaKad, on Ba'akad. So, and that, of course, again, goes back to, is very possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but on April the 8th is Yom HaKad on the first month, the introduction to light. But Yah covers the light on that day, okay? So if Yah's covering the light on that day, that'd be a perfect day for Yah to show his glory, the real true light. Finally, my servant David will be king over them. All of them will have one shepherd. Guess what that word of one is? Echad. He's going to be the one who's going to be the door between the walls, between heaven and earth, and be the one shepherd. Now I'm putting the position of a shepherd on him. He's going to be an under shepherd to me, and they will live by my rulings and keep and observe my regulations. So That right there, the keeping and observing is the guarding and the doing. So you and I know at this in particular time that we're not guarding and keeping all of Yah's laws, his statutes, and his commandments, his rulings. We're not doing all of his mishpatim. You can't do some of them and say, I'm doing them. No, you're going to live by my rulings, but you're only going to live underneath the shepherd that I chose, which is going to be Dawid, my servant. Okay. They will live. So if Dawid is my servant, then that must mean that I'm his what? I'm his master. Because Dawid understands that I'm the master. Dawid understands that he's going to look to me, look his eyes towards my staff to guide my people in my house, to be over my household. They will live. Okay. So they're going to walk, they're going to live their lives in the land I gave to Yaakov, my servant. This is Yah's voice, where your ancestors lived. He's talking to you and me, where your ancestors lived, and they will live there. They, their children, and their grandchildren forever. And Dawid, my servant, will be their leader forever. He's going to be their Nasi. He's going to be their Nasi. Even though he's a Melech, even though he's a king, he's not the king over Israel. He's in a position of a king, but he's not the king. He's a representative for the Most High. He's going to be a Nasi over them. He's going to be a leader, a prince. That word leader right there means prince. Okay. So he's a prince. So he's not the king in that essence, right? I will make a covenant of peace, of shalom with them, an everlasting covenant. When I bring them back to their land, and I will give to them, increase their numbers, and set my sanctuary among them forever. I got right there the word mikdashi. Okay. And then he says, my home, mishkani. When I read that early this morning, it's like sanctuary and home, they're not the same. Okay. Mikdashi is different than mishkani. Okay. My mishkani will be with them. My home will be with them. I will be their Elohim and they will be my people. Going back to the idea that I've been trying to get us to understand is that Yah right now says, then I will be. I will be. I will be. So when we're looking at this, we're saying that he's our Elohim right now. And Yah say, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not your Elohim right now. That's not double talk, you guys. It's the truth. I will be. And they will be. I will. Okay. I will. Future tense. I will. I will. I will. They will. They will. They will. Let's just accept it. Okay. He says they will and I will. They will and I will. You see? So this is a future tense. Okay. The me right means who, and Kodash means holy. And then this I right here is mine, my holiness, my place of holiness. So Yah intends to bring a sanctuary, again, a mikdashi, back to a place of set apartness, right? Among them forever. That's what I'm going to do. Then he says, my home, okay, meaning my mishkani. The Mibrai means who. And again, Shakan, as I told you, means dwelling. And then I'm dwelling with them. I will be with them. So Yah is not with us yet. I will be with them. I will be with them. I will. Okay. And then because I'm with them, and it's just very simple. Okay. And we need to stop changing what he said. This is his voice. Let's don't add and take away from what the shepherd said. There's no reason for us to do that. We're not losing anything by, giving him the glory and the praise and just adhering to what he said. Don't add anything to what he said. He said, my mishkani will be with them. And then he gives us an explanation of being with us. That semicolon right there means I'm going to explain to you what I mean by living with them. I will be. My home will be. If my home's not with them, I'm not their Elohim. When my home is with them, I will be their Elohim. And they will be my people. If he's not our Elohim, we're not in his mind at this moment because he's not with us, that they will be my people. So the idea is, are we his people? I explained to you before, yes, we are his people. But right now, he's not recognizing us as his people because his home is not with us. Case in point, The master, the father, the husband, he has decided to destroy his house because his wife was unfaithful to him. He decided to exile his children because they weren't respecting him as a father. So he got rid of the house. He got rid of this because they profaned it. So his holiness and set apartness is no longer with us. His mishkani, he's not dwelling with us. And since his sanctuary and his living among them, his mishkani is in a place of being set apart, then how is it that you and I are going to take him and bring him and say, well, you're dwelling with us while we're in the lands of our enemies? So now when you say that he's with you, you're saying that he lives, his mishkani is dwelling with them in their uncleanness in exile. And so for every person who says this is mistaken because they're not listening to his voice. So if they're not listening to his voice, that means that they're not called. They're not listening to his voice. If they're not called, then that means that they're not kohal. If they're not kohal, that means that they're not part of his flock. If they're not part of his flock, then that means that he's not going to gather you to lead you on the path back to him. This is the danger of not listening to Yah's voice. If you're going to listen to his voice, then you're going to be his flock. If you're saying that he's with you and he didn't say that I'm with you, that means you're not listening to his voice. He said, your ancestors didn't listen to me. They haven't paid attention to what I said. But for those who are going to listen to me, those who are listening to me are going to say what I said, then guess who you are now? You're the noble. You're the noble person. Because all you want to hear and all you desire is what I say and what I said. That's what you're listening to. You guys get it? The nations will know because they don't know. They don't recognize that I am Yahweh. So if they don't recognize me because I'm not with you, then they know right now that you're not set apart as Kadosh, as holy. Going back to my Mikdashi. The only way that you and I will ever be Kadosh, right here, that's the word, is when there's a Mikdashi. If there's no Mikdashi, there's no sanctuary, there is no Kadosh for you. Because you are only recognized as Kadosh when Yahweh is with your his sanctuary, his Mikdashi is with them forever. That's when you're going to recognize you that you are Kadosh. So if you're listening to my voice, then you would know, if you're of noble character, you're going to respect what I said. If you're part of my flock, you're going to listen to what I'm telling you. If I told you that who is set apart is among them forever, and there's no evidence of me being with you right now because I haven't made my home with you, then surely the nations don't know that you are set apart because of my Mikdashi. That's how they're going to know. When my Mikdashi is with them forever, then they will know. That's when they're going to know. And that's when you're going to know. That's when I'll be your Elohim. And that's when I'll recognize you as my people. So, what are we going to do with this? What are we going to do with this relationship? What are we going to understand? Am I sharing all this so I can tear us down and say that, hey, I don't want us to have a relationship with the Most High? No, I'm trying to develop a noble character and a noble mind that is one of acceptance. And I'm going to tell the truth. And I'm going to accept what the Most High said. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to reverence him. I'm going to revere him. Okay. And I want you to also look at it that way as well. You see, because you and I can't live by Yahweh's rulings and observe all of his regulations if we're not living in the land. Okay. This is not to discourage us. We're being developed. We're being humbled. Okay. And Yah does not expect you to try to even to do any of this because you know that you're not set apart until he's set apart. Until he is acknowledged as being the master, until he's acknowledged as being the husband, until he's acknowledged as being the king, you and I will never be acknowledged. Period. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah. Shabbat shalom to you. Anyone have any comments, contributions, statements? Contributions, questions?
I did have one thought early on when you were noting that people would remember Yah as we are doing now. I'm wondering if that's a recurring event for every reincarnation for the souls that carry on, or if that's basically the final marker, timeline wise,
No, I
is
like
when
the-
they ultimately.
No, it's a reoccurring. Out of every, because you got to remember, out of every generation, because I was asking myself, like, okay, these people that have been like, there were some rabbis called Matthews, and they're not the first. They're the only ones that we know about. In every generation, there has to be someone that is of righteous character and a noble character. There always has to be, okay? And the righteousness is the one who's in pursuit. So let's don't get it twisted like I'm saying that they're hitting on all cylinders, okay? What they're doing is they're pursuing Yah, okay? They're pursuing Yah in every generation. So some people in some generations are going to get it. My mother didn't get it. She was in her 60s. She didn't understand it, but there's other people like in their 70s and 80s that got it. So why they get it? There's a certain group of people that are going to get it. Maybe on that in particular time, my mother didn't supposed to get it. Who knows? Maybe she wasn't interested. Maybe when her soul gets back to wherever it is, she'll come back, and maybe one of my children who decided to follow the Most High will teach her, or one of the other descendants will teach her. And then she'll get it. And then it goes on and on and on, because Israel doesn't stop. They're an eternal people. They're like the stars. They can't be numbered. See? So, but unless we understand this, if you don't think that you're divine and you don't accept that you're the people that I'm the person in Deuteronomy 30, just go read it. If I'm not one of those that came to my attention, I started thinking about it, then why are you doing what you're doing? There's no other reason for you to be doing this, because this is not a religion. This is not. And so a lot of people are against the idea of what they would call, they name it as reincarnation. We call it the cycles of life. You're just going through your cycle. That's all. Because the cycle is a circle, and the circle never stops. There's just different things that happen on the timeline. Like you might, be here for a certain time, then you're gone, then you come back again. Because this surely can't be this right here. You come in here and you didn't come here, and all of a sudden it doesn't make sense. But when you look at it from Yahweh's perspective, and you look at it from what he's already told us about how individuals said, I want to die like they die. Well, why you want to die like us? Because you guys I want to die like the righteous die, right? And Yah says that you're my servant. You guys are going to remember, you're going to loathe yourselves. You're going to be angry with yourself. You're going to hate yourself for your disgusting practices. What was your disgusting practices? Smoking a pack of cigarettes? Was it disgusting practices? Having, getting drunk? What was the disgusting practices that you and I are supposed to look at and have our eyes open? So over the course of time, during this cycle, okay, of time, we just been going through. And that's how we end up coming here. You see? And then we're going to leave, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to leave, we're going to come back. And every time you leave and you come back, depends on what you've done during your cycle. You might come back, you may not. Some people, remember he said, I'm going to cut you off from your people. You're cut off from that batch. There's a batch of people. He said, you're going to be gathered to your people. You're going to be gathered to your people, not people, your people. So there's different groups, different families, different people. Okay. So you're going to be gathered to your people if you're not cut off. If you're cut off and I blot your name out, you're done. You'll never exist again. See? So That's what they would call the mystery. That's the mystery behind everything. Because it's not just, a religion, it's not ABC, you're gonna get eternal life. No, 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 no. You're an eternal people. You get to get your cycle, but you're gonna die. It says in Psalms 82, you're Elohim, but you're gonna die like a prince. You're gonna die like a mortal. After you die like a mortal, you come back. To where? To back to Yah. It's amazing. Yes, it is, Sister Clyde. It's amazing. So if we adopt that and we start thinking like that, then everything the scriptures will make sense to you. And then you'll know why you should feel sorry and why you should shuv and why you should say sorry for what your ancestors have done. And he says what you've done. It's not just what they've done, what you have done. You see? Because Yah's not going to, he says, I'm going to let you experience the hardships that they've done, but I'm not going to punish you for their sins. I'm not going to do that. Every person that sins against me is the person that's going to die. That's the person I'm going to deal with. I only reward you according to what you've done. See? So we might be reaping, right, off of something that we've done to the third and fourth generation. You don't know. So you ask yourself, why are these things happening in my life? Why are these in particular things happening in my life? Because maybe there's something that you need to learn on this go around. There's some different way that you need to go. Okay. Because that's what it is. That's how beautiful it is. Okay. So you try to attain what you can on this because you only have a certain amount of time. And if you notice Yah doesn't guarantee how many days you're going to be here. You might be here for 10 years, you might be here for 20, you might be here for 50, you might be for 70, you might be for 100. And is that enough? And let's just be honest. Is that enough time to really find out about Yah? We're talking about the eternal one. So is 70 years sufficient? Why does he say I'm going to give you, I'm going to download, I'm going to open up your mind, and I'm going to open your eyes up because you're blind. I'm going to open up your eyes. Why is he going to open up your eyes? Because you don't think you're blind. Why am I going to circumcise your heart? Because it's been uncircumcised. Because you still don't know. Even to this day, like Moshe said, even to this day, you don't know. You have never considered. You don't even think about it. Because Yah hasn't given you eyes to see and ears to hear. But the moment he opens up your eyes, who knows what you're going to see? See? And then we'll see the glory because we're not like ordinary people. We're not when Yah has made, I can show you scripture after scripture where he said, I made you for me. I made you. I created Israel for me. So Israel is a created family. They're a created being that's been separate from all. He's used human means through, physical element to be here. But Israel is different than every other person on the face of this earth. Yah says, you're the only people that I know. I don't know any other family but yours. What do you mean you don't know anybody? I don't know anybody else but you. You're numbered among the stars. He says, if I get rid of the solar system, I'm going to get rid of you. If I end you, if you cease to be a people before me, then the sun, the moon, and stars are gone. Let me show it to you. Just so you'll know. So you won't think I'm making this up. You would really understand because and this is not like, this is not magic. Okay. What he says is, and let me read it to you because we read about the covenant, right? And he said, I'm going to make a new covenant with the house of Israel. Here it is right here. Jeremiah. See Jeremiah. Come on. Don't film it now. All right. And this is the reason why it's important for us to go through our cycles. I'm like, why do you want us to keep going over and over and over and over and over again? Because I want you to know what's going on. Because if you keep reading and you keep going over and over and over and over and over and over, you're going to eventually find out what I'm saying to you. Because you're going to be listening to my voice over and over and over and over again. So remember, we read where he says that, this is the covenant I'm going to make. Let's just say, okay, blah, 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 blah. All right. First, the end part of what he just said about, you guys are not going to teach each other should tell you that you're an eternal being. Okay. He says, verse number 35, this is what Yahweh says. This is his voice. who gives the sun for light as light for Yom. That's not the light. I give the sun as light, who ordained the laws for the moon and the stars to provide light for the night, who stirs up the sea until its waves roar. Yahweh Sabaoth is his name. I'm the one over heaven's armies. Okay. He says, if these laws leave my presence, says Yahweh, then the offspring of Israel will stop being a nation. That means they will cease, they will shabbat, they will stop being a nation in my presence forever. This is what Yahweh says. If the sky can be measured and the foundations of the earth be famined, meaning completely understood, then I will reject all the offspring of Israel for all that they have done, says Yahweh. So he attaches that to Israel, the sun, the moon, and the stars, and the laws that go along with it. See? Did you see that? So what he's saying is, if you could get rid of these things, then I'll get rid of Israel forever. But guess what? He knows that nobody will ever understand these things. The nations, he don't look at the nations like that. The nations are nothing to Yah. Israel is everything to Yah. Because Israel's relationship with Yah is based on the universe. It's based on the sun, the moon, and the stars. Okay? So when you see that eclipse coming in a few weeks, then you should understand it's about Israel. You know, they say, oh, when it's a lunar eclipse, it has to do with Israel. It's a solar, it has to do with the nations. Okay, either way. And I'll let you guys go on this last one. That solar eclipse is going through a city called Joppa, which is in Jonah, right? The city that he went through. And which is in Nineveh, is going over 7 Ninevehs all in a row in that in particular course. Okay. I read Jonah, I was like, okay, so what's the connection? Well, the connection is like, I'm going to judge you guys. 7 years ago, it went over 7 Salems. And they say, oh, that's Jerusalem. The people don't know the language. It means shalem. It means time to be paid. 7 Salems and 7 Ninevehs, right? That means that it's time for payment. So payment's coming for them, you see? So we're going to see, but it's all because of Israel. It's all because of Israel. Because Yah uses the sun and the moon and the stars to say that if these things stop doing what they need to do, I'll get rid of Israel. So who is Israel? If the sun and the moon and the stars are connected to Israel, then who's Israel? Why would he attach that to us? Because you're divine. That's why. Praise Yah. Shabbat shalom.